let me give you an example. I was in California a year ago, and a woman was showing me a video of her German Shepherd. She was so proud about this German Shepherd, and he was doing nosework, which just is, involves walking around a facility and scenting various things. And I looked at him, I thought, oh my God, he looks like he's in pain. And I told that to her, and she said, oh, well, he's 9 years old. I mean, and I'm like, what? Why would we assume that older dogs should live in pain? Do we assume that older humans should live in pain? No. And it's just not a normal, it might have been a normal part of aging decades ago, but we have so many things we can do. It's not, I don't consider it a normal part of aging at all.
No, but it means that somebody has to tell them, doesn't it? Because I think like that person, they do just think, oh, my dog's old. It's okay. It's probably not painful. And, people will say, oh, he does limp on that, but he's not painful. And you want to say, and I do say, well, if he's limping, he is painful. Otherwise, he would not be limping.
Yes.
And I think it's sometimes something that you have to bring in gradually rather than your dog is in pain. We must do this, this, and this, because people don't respond well to that. So it's working together, isn't it? And getting them around to thinking and looking for those things that you are seeing already.
Right. I kind of sort of dump it on them. Say, your dog is in pain. Do you want to be in pain all the time? Well, your dog is experiencing that.
Go and see your vet immediately.
Yeah, I'm not that subtle, I guess.
No, well, and I think you're right, but I do think I find it quite difficult to still want for those people then to come back and trust me without then telling them, you must do this and this. But it is really important, isn't it? Because the earlier you treat these dogs, the longer they're going to have. That's how I like to explain it.
That's really, really important. That's really important. So you want to catch it you want to catch it early. And what I would say is that if a dog's limping, barring some kind of an acute injury accident, if a dog is limping, they've had this going on for months, if not years.
Yeah.
So that's not a very good way to detect arthritis. The thing to do is to look for really subtle changes, like the dog doesn't want to go upstairs, or the dog's refusing to get into the car without help, or the dog doesn't like to get up on the couch, or, for subtle little things. Or you notice that when he's sleeping and then he gets up, he's kind of really stiff, or, those are all the kinds of things we should be looking for long before there's a lameness.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think though it's one of those things as well, that if it happens very gradually, you don't always take note that that's happening.
Right.
And it's only when you reflect that you realize.
Exactly. And then sometimes I'll say, like on a clinical examination, I'll say, your dog's, let's say his carpus wrist is swollen, and does he do, and then I'll start asking questions. I'll go, he really doesn't like getting in the car anymore. I thought maybe he was car sick, but no, he just doesn't want to get in, but and no, he just not been getting up on the bed lately, now that I think about it. So these are all retrospective recognitions of problems.
But how do you get people to think like that before it happens? How do you get people to know these things? That's the hard thing.
Whenever I first meet a client, one of the things that I always tell them about, so for the decades that I was at Johns Hopkins Hospital, it's in the inner city, and there's a lot of poverty there. There's a lot of people that don't have medical insurance, unlike more intelligent countries like Canada and Britain. But anyway, and so the people there use the emergency room, the emergency clinic, as their doctor.
Right.
And so what ends up happening is you end up with all of these people at the emergency room. Some of them just have a cold, and other ones have been shot. So there's, and so there's this nurse there that decides who gets to go in right away, who doesn't. Okay. Or who's just drug seeking, or whatever other things that they're doing. And so, but that nurse is every one of us that has a dog. So every one of us is like the triage nurse. And we need to be watching all the time. And so I tell my clients this, and I say, look for all those behaviors. And anytime you see a change in behavior, don't dismiss it.
Yeah.
Think about what it might mean, and even write it down in a journal, how many times you saw it. If you only saw it once, well, maybe it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
If you consistently start seeing these things, then you really need to follow up on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's easier to see these things in dogs that do sports and like agility dogs, because there'll be other people watching, won't they? But when you're just out walking your dog yourself and other people aren't seeing, aren't commenting, you really do need to write them down. If you just think, oh, that's a bit odd that he did that, just jot it down.
Yeah. Writing it down, keeping a tiny little journal in your kitchen where you keep the leash, stuff like that,